What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode officially of That Rocks. I'm Eddie Trunk, and I am joined by my co-hosts Jim Florentine and Don Jamieson. What's up, boys?
What's going on, man?
Donnie boy?
Good to be back together.
Yes. We are excited to be here. We thank everybody for subscribing. It's been an amazing response ever since we announced that we were going to do this. And the funniest thing is everybody keeps saying, what are you going to do? What's it going to be? We don't know. You're going to find out with us in the next 75 minutes or so because we were just figuring it out on the fly. We got some cool stuff that we're going to do every week. We're going to cover news. We're going to discuss stuff with everybody. We're going to interact with you guys. We should have a guest most weeks. We got a great guest for our first show, a friend of mine for, over 35 years, Charlie Benante of Anthrax and Pantera joining us as our first guest. He'll be coming by a little bit later on in the show. So excited to welcome him as our inaugural guest here on That Rocks. But we were all just on the Monsters of Rock cruise together. We just got off the ship about a week ago, and so many people were coming up to us and asking about this show and asking about what we're doing. There's been phenomenal interest in it. So thank you all. That's the first thing we got to say to everybody. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, just that people wanted us to be back together after all these years. Like my manager lives out in Hollywood. He has like some big actors on his roster. He goes, I've never seen people so excited about you three doing something and keep bringing it up constantly. He goes, I've been around Billy Crystal, Robin Williams. Fans don't even care about their movies, but this show and you three together. So it's great that we're back and people care. And you know what's great about not being on TV is we don't have to worry about how long the segment's going to go. You know, you're very restricted when you're doing TV, 7 minutes. Then we got to go to commercial. So we can kind of riff and just let loose.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, too, like we said, we're going to have a segment each week, unless it gets too wild and out of control, where you guys can ask whatever you want to the three of us. Hopefully a lot of it's about music, but you can ask us other stuff. We're all sports fans. You know, we all have other interests. So we're going to give you guys a chance to fire away in our stand up and shout segment. And we'll do that later in the show.
And I'm just going to put this out there right at the top in the very first show, because maybe people watched the teaser promo videos that we did leading into this. Maybe they didn't, but just so we're straight right from the get-go, clearly, this is not that metal show. We understand people want that show back. Just for the record, we want that show back. We will do that show again tomorrow if the opportunity presents itself. We do not own that show. We have no control over it coming back or not. If it does, we are all in, and we would love to do it. But for the last 7-8 years, we have all been bombarded by people asking about the three of us doing something together again. And it's important because, you know, that we all do different stuff. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that connect with us. People listen to my radio show. People listen to Jim, listen to Don, seen your stand-up, seen the things I've done, whatever, since that show's been on the air. So we've all maintained a friendship. We were friends before that metal show, during it, and still after. And, you know, for those people that don't keep up with all the different things we do, we've all stayed super busy. We are still super busy, thankfully. But this is just something that we thought would be great to connect. I love the fact that we're doing it live initially. You can, of course, watch it whenever you want. And, you know, we're all just looking forward to seeing where this goes and having some fun and having a guest and debating and discussing rock like we always did.
Ed, didn't you ever think to ask Netflix to pick up that metal show? I don't.
But in all honesty, I think we can all agree that we appreciate the hell out of people still asking about that show and caring about us all coming together. So we're here. We'll see where it goes. We'll have fun. And we thank you all for supporting all the things we do individually. And of course, now this every Wednesday live at 7 Eastern. So welcome, everybody.
And there's also a couple little things with the show. If you want to ask us questions, you can ask us. There's also a thing called the Super Chat. If you donate some money. It'll pop up on the screen. You could do with that, or you don't have to, whatever you want. And you can also, we're also going to do like almost like an after show every week, starting next week. So anyone that signed up for the club membership, you'll get another extra 20 or 30 minutes of the show after the free one airs. So if you want to hang out and hang with us for another half hour, and you'll be able to ask us a bunch of different questions, and we'll wrap up the show and talk or whatever, continue talking about the show. But the way to get that stuff, there's videos on that at That Rocks YouTube channel. You could see how to do it, because I don't know how to do that stuff. I just changed my flip phone a fucking month ago, so I don't know how to do that shit. But it's very simple. They show you in detail.
Yeah. And if you guys really dig the show, we'll do an OnlyFans at some point. So.
And there's going to be merch. We don't have it yet, but there's going to be merch for That Rocks. We're, and speaking of Jim not knowing how to do things, we should absolutely give a shout out to the two guys that have helped us set this whole thing up behind the scenes, because the three of us, I mean, I can tell you right now, I know shit about YouTube. I have never, it's funny, people come up to me all the time and they're like, well, I see and hear your stuff on YouTube. I can tell you honestly, in my life, and I'm not proud of this, never in my life have I posted one thing on YouTube. So whatever's up there, people just post, which is great, whatever. So we needed help getting this thing going. Right up until before we got on the air, I'm on with the guys being like, is the mic okay? Is the camera okay? So we got to thank Joe and Iso, who have been tremendously helpful producing this thing for us.
And also Austin. Austin is a part of it, too. That's helping out today, too. Yeah, no, these guys have been great. And they work for the Shuley Network. We're all friends with Shuley from the Howard Stern Show. He's got his own podcast network. So, we snapped up those guys. I called Shuley up. He goes, I got a great guys to help you guys. So it's awesome. So we're excited.
And let's not forget Graphics Rob. Graphics Rob.
Yeah.
All the graphics you see, he did absolutely free of charge. Well, not actually free. I got to buy him beers at McSorley's for the rest of my life. It probably would have been cheaper to pay him, but he really did it, out of his love for us and the music and getting this project off the ground. So good job, Rob.
So everybody out there, spread the word. We're obviously just starting. This is our first show, and we want to build this thing, see where it goes, see where it takes us. And just everybody, you got friends or people asking where we've been who haven't been keeping up with the things we've done the last 7-8 years. And look, there's probably a lot of people, as we talked about too, that are watching that have no idea about the old show in other countries, because the beautiful thing about this is we're all over the world now. So wherever you are, however you've connected with us, for whatever reason that you give a shit about us, spread the word, tell others that we're doing this on Wednesdays, and and join us and get involved. If you can do it live, great. If not, then just watch when you can. It'll be archived after the live show. So you guys want to get into some news and some stuff, because we're going to open every show talking about things that have happened in the past week or so. And I guess, I'll start with the most recent thing that just happened a couple hours ago for me. As many people know, I do a daily rock talk show on Sirius XM on channel 103 every day called Trunk Nation on Faction Talk. And today, our good buddy, John 5, just did his first interview. He was on with me for 90 minutes straight and did his first interview since he joined Motley Crue. He promised me he'd do that with me, and he did. He was great. He told me nothing was off limits. So we talked about everything. The only thing I couldn't talk about was the legal stuff with Mick, the lawsuit, which he has nothing to do with anyway. But obviously, for legal reasons, he couldn't go there. But John was great. And, we're all friends with John. John was on the old show countless times. And he's just obviously thrilled to have this gig, rightfully so. I've not seen Motley with him in the band yet, but everybody says he's doing a great job, which is no surprise. But he talked about everything with me. He talked about the Trax allegations. He talked about how he got the gig. He talked about leaving Rob Zombie. He talked about all of it. So we appreciate him doing it. And he is getting ready to leave now with Motley and Leopard on Friday, he told me, for 2 months in Europe. But when he's back, he absolutely wants to come on with us on here. And he told me he may even video some stuff with Motley in Europe and send it to us, which we can play exclusively here on the show.
That's great. So what did he say? I didn't hear the interview. So what did he say about how he left Rob Zombie and got the gig in Motley?
Well, it definitely sounded like, Look, we know John well, and John doesn't have a bad word to say about anybody. Unlike the three of us, he's not a dick or an asshole. So he's he's like the most, nicest guy in the world. And he said that he's been doing a lot of work, as we know, with Nikki. They wrote some stuff, they were playing, and then Nikki just said to him, look, Mick's going to retire and can't do this, and do you want to do it? So he told Rob. They had a conversation about it. He said Rob understood. Clearly, Rob wasn't thrilled to be losing John. I mean, he was a huge part of his band, and they did a lot of stuff together. But like John said, it's an opportunity like he couldn't turn down. How could you turn down the opportunity to be in Motley Crue? And he loves Rob. He never say never about returning, but his focus right now is Motley Crue. And he has not talked to Rob Zombie since he made this decision. We know that after he made the decision, there was one more show that John was supposed to do, one of the festivals, and Rob ended up bringing back Riggs, his old guitar player. Of course, John said wonderful things about Riggs, and is just happy Rob's moving on, and he's just thrilled to have this opportunity. He just said it was just something he could not say no to.
I wish there was some way that Mick Mars could have joined Rob Zombie's band, man. That would have been the ultimate off of those two, man.
That would have been funny, yeah.
The crazy thing is John said that he knows Mick. He texts with Mick. Mick did send him a text when he got the gig saying, you're going to be great. Congratulations. I don't know anybody that doesn't love John. If you know him personally, he's a great guy, but just as a musician, and even today, him coming on 90 minutes, we took questions from the audience. Nothing was off bounds. He was great. So people that want to hear it, you can go to the SiriusXM app and hear it. If you have that, I'll podcast it for everybody to hear in a couple weeks. But, John's just living the dream, man. He's soaking it up like he should and loving the gig. And Jim, you saw Motley with him, right?
I saw the first show they ever did in Atlantic City in February. I thought it was great. I mean, it was weird not seeing Mick there after all these years, but John brought a certain amount of energy to the band that they didn't necessarily have before. And then it seemed Nikki was more animated with John and the band running around and all that stuff. So it was good. John was amazing, and he plays everything to a T. He doesn't put his own style on it. He knows to, play it just the way people want to hear it. And then, of course, he did one of his solos and stuff, but he was great.
I asked him about that, actually. I said, what was your approach to coming in and doing this? And he said he listened to the records and he wants to be totally faithful to what Mick did on the records. And then the band, he told me, did give him a solo spot. So there he can go off and do all the John 5 stuff. But as far as playing the songs, and he also revealed that they are deep into new music that Bob Rock is producing. They got a bunch of songs. They don't know how or when they're going to put it out. And he said it's very, very heavy. It's still melodic, but it's really, really heavy. So there's going to be new Motley Crue music with him sooner than later. And they just want to go from here and see what happens. I mean, the legal stuff is going to sort itself out. He maintains that Nikki is playing totally live. He doesn't know what happened before he was in the band. He did admit there's some background vocals and effects on tracks, but outside of that, he said the band's playing live, and he cleared a lot of that stuff up as far as from his perspective. Again, he can't speak about what happened with the band before him, but as far as him in it now, that's what he addressed. And the other thing is they're totally cool with him continuing his solo thing with the Creatures. So he's not letting that go either. So he's doing great. He's happy, and he's getting ready to go to Europe for 2 months with them.
I did see John 5's merchandise at the merchandise table for the Motley tour too, which I'm like, okay,
oh really?
So, yeah, he had a whole little section of all his stuff there too. So
well, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So that was the big news today. Don, anything you want to add about that?
No, he just say John's come a long way since he was my wardrobe consultant on that metal show. when we used to film in LA, me and him used to go shopping together.
I've said it many times. When we had that segment in the stands, there was nobody that owned that more than John 5. There was nobody that got more off of that than John 5. Like every show, whether it was Sammy Hagar sitting next to us or whatever, they're like, who the hell is that guy? Because up to that point, people heard him play stuff with Manson, but you didn't hear him play lead guitar with Manson. And then all of a sudden, here he comes like doing this crazy shit on the show, and like people just were like floored by his performances, and he probably did it more than anybody else, I would think, in the stands, right?
Yeah, I just remember Keith Nelson when he was in Buck Cherry did our show, and he came up to us. He goes, "Listen, man, you guys got to dress better. You guys dress like slobs. You're on TV." I go, "That's the way we do. This is the way we dress. Because come on, you're on TV. Look at you.
Look at the improvement on this show.
I know. I got
Don
my rose
can't even
tattoo.
afford sleeves.
I know.
But even my 85-year-old uncle is still a John 5 fan, from just, watching the show because of me. But he's like, I don't know how that guy does that with his fingers. So John really, he really touched a lot of people. And, I'm happy for him. I heard him on your show, Ed, and just really, he was so sincere about, wow, this is a dream come true, man. I'm flying on a private plane with Motley Crue, a band I loved from when I was a kid. And he said when he saw the set list for the first time, he goes, I already knew all the songs. So, he was really excited. And like Jim said, man, I think, he's obviously bringing a new energy to the band. We miss Mick. Mick, we miss you so much. We can't wait to hear your new music, and hopefully soon.
Yeah, for sure. So we're happy for John. We love Mick, and we'll see how this all goes. And, John, to his word, said he couldn't do interviews. He wanted some time in the band. He wanted to get some shows under his belt. He said he was going to do his first one. He'd do it. And he did it with me today. So thank you. And again, he'll be on with us sometime in the near future. And I think now that he did this first interview, he'll probably be out there a lot more. It's interesting that Motley kind of dispatched him to do their first interview. Those guys haven't done anything really yet, but maybe that'll change too.
Yeah.
But the other thing about that is obviously John wasn't part of the band when all this drama happened. So that's a kind of a smart move because you can't ask him about it because he wasn't in the band at the time. So the other stuff, as we run down some stuff here, I want to give a quick shout out. This past Sunday, twice a year, I host events for the Deal Cancer Fund, raise money for Ronnie's in Ronnie's name, and great work that the Cancer Fund does. I was in Encino on Sunday. The outdoor concert came back. It was sold out, and we raised a bunch of money. Tons of musicians were there. I actually saw Keith Nelson there with Ricky Warwick. They played together. Don, I was talking to Ricky about you going on the road with those guys too, and we were chatting for a bit. So I saw a ton of people. Doug Aldridge, Rudy Sarzo, tons and tons of musicians jammed for Ronnie on Sunday. So that was a fun time, and obviously for a great cause. So we thank everybody who came out to that. Yeah, there's the graphic, and docancerfund.org for more information on that. And Van Halen tribute Atomic Punks played, so that was a good afternoon.
So good.
They're great, man. I love those guys.
They got a new guitar player too, and the first time I saw them with him, and he's actually the guy, his name's Frankie, he's actually the guy who played with Roth when Roth did shows the last time. He's actually in Roth's band.
Right.
So he was real good. And one of you guys should maybe pick up on this. We all just came off the Monsters of Rock cruise, as I mentioned, and had a blast on that. Don, why don't you take that one?
I mean, what do you want? Some highlights? For me, one of my picks for what's rocking my world recently was one of my highlights on the cruise. So I'll save it for my pick. But Shanker was amazing. Rose Tattoo was amazing. Kicks, Rhino Bucket, Queensryche, and of course I gotta say thank you to Todd Latore from Queensryche and Red Beach from Winger, who both did stand-up comedy for the first time. We did 3 comedy shows on the boat, and both those guys did stand-up, and they really did great. My partner Courtney, and I worked with them on their sets, and they went up and they really killed it, and the fans loved it. So for me, that was absolutely one of the highlights of the cruise for me. Also, Vandenberg was terrific too.
Jim, what were your highlights? I'll give you mine. You go next, Jim.
Michael Schenker. Saw Michael Schenker. Phenomenal. I haven't seen him probably in 15 years. I think me and Eddie, we saw him in the city years ago. That was the last time I saw him. He was great. Saxon unfortunately didn't make it, so they weren't there. But Vandenberg was great. I haven't seen Vandenberg since the 80s, and band was great. The singer they have is phenomenal, and they did a couple of Whitesnake songs, which was good. And then, of course, Rose Tattoo, one of my favorite bands. I mean, Angry Anderson, the singer, 75 years old. He's up
and
there
still angry.
Still angry. He's up there with a bottle of friggin' whiskey, swigging whiskey at 75. And the first night they were the last band on, and he wanted to keep playing. And the sound guys and the roadies like, no, we're done. And they were messing with the sound. He said, no, we want to keep playing. There's nobody on after us. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and he just kept playing, and they basically just shut the power off. He was screaming at him. And the next day I saw Angry on the ship. I go, Angry. I go, man, that was great last night. I go, what happened with the road crew and all that stuff and the sound guys? He goes, that sound guy is lucky he's still walking today. 75 years old, a drunk Australian, just wants to fight everybody. It's great. And he was still going. They always do 2 shows in the 5 days. Every band does 2 sets. So 3 days later, when he did the second set, he was still bitching about it on stage. It was great. And he's drinking more whiskey at 1 p.m. It's like 110 degrees at the pool stage, drinking straight out of a bottle. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch them some. They're definitely the real deal. And actually, speaking of Vandenberg real quick, it's crazy because I didn't see Adrian. I saw him play a couple songs on the ship. And anybody who's been on this cruise knows there were literally 40 bands on the thing. So you can go the entire cruise without seeing anybody and seeing a band or actually physically seeing people. Joel Hoekstra is a friend. Didn't see him at all in any way, shape, or form, and he was on the ship. So that happens. But Adrian, I didn't see on the ship, but he was at the Dio thing. And he actually closed the Dio thing on Sunday, and we talked for a little bit at that. And he got up and did a couple songs at the end. So that happens on that cruise because there's just so many bands. For me, every other year Tesla headlines. Tesla is one of my all-time favorite bands, and I always love seeing them. Extreme played. People probably heard that story about Nuno blowing out his knee. The crazy thing about that was Nuno, I do my Sirius XM show from the ship, and Extreme were booked to be on my radio show. And I got a note that they couldn't come on because Nuno and Gary were tied up in a basketball game on the cruise.
I was commentating.
Yeah, me and Don were hanging out. We saw the whole thing go down. Nuno went up for a layup and jumped to pull down and landed on his knee and was laying on the ground.
And Jeff Scott Soto took a pipe and hit him across his knee.
Tanya Harding Soto. But so those guys couldn't make the radio because they were playing basketball. And the next thing you know, I got a note that he blew out his knee and was in really like a lot of pain, obviously. And it was a real bummer because Extreme have their first new album in 15 years coming out. That 3 songs are out from it now that sound phenomenal. Nuno is one of the great guitar players we have today. And the second show they did on the cruise after he blew out his knee, I introed them and he came out and he gave it a go. And then he walked off stage. I went back there. I mean, he was just in tears and pain. I felt so bad. And he felt so bad that he played basketball. He's like, how stupid am I with the touring and everything I have coming up? But if you think about it, he could have done it taking a step too. You know, it could have happened in any way. But he was really, really bummed about it. And he did get through the second show, but had to sit on a stool. And then they ended up canceling on M3 last weekend. And now, I mean, they've got dates in Brazil coming up very soon. I mean, I don't know. I've never had that injury, but I know from people in sports that get it, it's a long rehab. Hopefully for him, since he just has to be able to stand and play guitar, it won't be as long, but it's pretty serious. And he said he blew out the other one years ago, so he knows the injury and what the recovery is. So we wish him a quick get well.
Yeah, if it's a torn ACL is usually like 8 to 9 months, but yeah, I don't know how he's going to be able to. He's got to keep that leg straight in a brace for a while before he can start doing stuff. So who knows?
Get him the Grohl throne.
Yeah, but that's not going to work for him because he's such an animated guy on stage. I don't see. I mean, even him sitting on that bar stool or on that drum stool for that second show was tough for him. So they're going to have to figure that out. But it's a real blow to those guys who have a really big year and touring coming up. And I don't know how that's going to be impacted. Also, I want to give a quick, of course, Schenker and Taiketo and all these bands that I've seen and love. It was great seeing them. Probably forgetting a bunch of bands. But one of the things about the cruise that I love is seeing the bands I don't get to see that often. I love the band Vane, and I got to watch them twice, and that band is so good. And also a shout out to Faster. To me, Faster and Vane, very similar in the East Coast, West Coast, very raw, awesome, totally live, sleazy hard rock bands. Both were so good. New Faster music is so good too.
And the Faster Pussy, telling them that they sound better than they've ever sounded before. They were amazing. Tammy hasn't drank right in a while, so I mean the band is so tight and they're unbelievable.
I mean, I toured with them several times now. I've probably seen them close to 100 times, and I think that show on the pool deck was the best I've ever seen them. So that's saying a lot. So good on them, and they're playing the new material, and it goes over great with the crowd as well. So
if you guys have not heard Faster's latest song, which is called Like a Ghost, maybe the best thing they've done in my opinion since like the first record. I mean, it's that good. Really, really good. So looking forward to long-awaited new music from them. And we should touch on Kix because they were on the cruise and they since then have announced they are done and doing a final show in mid-September in their hometown of Maryland at Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is a big venue for them. They say it's the last time they're ever going to play. And apparently the tickets have sold tremendously well. So good for them.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see Ronnie make an appearance back in the band because he's been out for a bit, and I think that'd be a great way to close things out for those guys, man. Cheers to 45 years, fellas.
I didn't know Steve Whiteman was 66 years old. He just did an interview. He's saying, listen, I just can't do it anymore. I'm exhausted, and he is so physical on stage. I told him he's like the hard rock Mick Jagger. That's what I call him, just nonstop moving and stuff. He just said, some of those notes are just tough. Don't close your eyes. And there was another song, I forget what the other one is. He said, it's tough hitting those notes, and I just can't, I just want to go out on top.
He takes great care of himself. He is, I mean, I don't think people, maybe, especially since we're talking to a global audience now, I don't think people realize how influential Kix were to a lot of those 80s bands. Because I think people forget Kix started in the 70s. And they're a little older than most of those 80s bands. And even when Extreme played on the pool, Nuno said on stage, because Jimmy from Kix was watching, and he's like, this song I'm about to play, he goes, I totally ripped it off from you guys. He's like, he said it on stage. So great band. They were dormant for a while. They got back active again like 12, 13 years ago. And I'm a big believer, as much as it sucks to see these bands end, go out on top, go out when you're strong. Ronnie Younkins, as you mentioned, Don, has had some well-documented sobriety issues, hoping he can be a part of the show. I asked Steve about that. He said they're going to see. I would love to see Donnie Purnell make an appearance, who actually wrote all the Kix songs and is the only guy who hasn't been part of this from the original lineup. So I think it's going to be a big celebration for them in Maryland, and they're gonna go out and give it one last show. And the other thing we should mention is that Jimmy Chalfant, their drummer, had a heart attack and then a heart failure on stage behind the drums during a show. And this was all covered on my radio show when they came on. Mark Schenker, the bass player now in the band, saved his life on stage. Without Mark there, Jimmy would not be with us. Literally revived him on stage after a second heart failure. And one of the reasons why they're ending, which Steve said to me, is he will not play as Kix and tour without Jimmy. So they're seeing cracks, and they're going out while they can still be intact and all alive, which I think is great.
Perfect. We should move on to the next segment because we got Charlie coming up in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, real quick. Aerosmith Black Crows, speaking of farewell tours.
Farewell tour. Yeah. Okay. Have fun with that.
I don't believe any band's ever doing a farewell, but when your singer's 75, I think you're done.
Yeah, but he sings like it's 1975, so.
Well, all I know is I'm going to the first date. It's in Philly, September 2nd. And I want to see the first show because who knows how long that tour will last if something happens to one of the guys or whatever. So I'm going, and just to have the Black Crowes open is phenomenal. And just going to see Aerosmith alone is amazing. But they put the Black Crowes on, man. So I'm there the first show.
Incredible bill and two incredible bands, and I can't wait. And I know it's 40 shows now. Maybe they'll add more. We'll see. But yeah, one of my all-time favorite bands, Aerosmith, and I love the Black Crowes as well.
I'll see the third farewell tour.
Yeah.
All right, what are we doing next?
Come on, let's do our metal six packs.
Well, I thought we were taking questions. Or
No,
we're gonna do
not yet.
All right, we're just figuring it out. Okay.
Yeah, we're figuring it out.
We're figuring it out as we go, folks, as you can tell. But people love the lists, so here we go. We decided we're going to do our lists of our favorite hard rock and/or heavy metal bands from the '80s, and we call this our metal six-pack. So, who wants to start?
We're going to go one at a time around the horn, or run them all down.
No, I think we should run them all down. I'll run all mine down, and then we'll run all three down, and then we'll comment. I think that's the best way.
So let's just clear, because this was always a problem on the old show. Let's just make sure we got the ground rules down, because when we were sending texts around what we were going to do. So it's your favorite bands, not albums from those bands, but your favorite bands who released their first album in the 80s.
Yes, that started in the 80s. Yes.
Okay. Meaning they released their first album in the 80s.
There's already a problem because I thought it was best bands from the 80s, whether they're your favorite or not.
Well, best is subjective to you.
All right. Whatever. Who cares? It's in life or death. Who gives a fuck?
Here we go. We're back.
All right.
But these bands who released their first album in the 80s, it doesn't mean their debut album was their best album. We have to say that. It's just
that they started
right.
in the 80s, basically.
Right.
Okay.
So go ahead, Jim.
So do you have my list? Because I forgot what I put on there.
I don't have it.
All right. I guess. All right. Well, I know my number one is Metallica.
We're off the rails already.
Number
Are
two.
we going to put them up on the screen? There we go. Okay, there you go.
All right, yeah. Number two is Ozzy Solo Band. Because he started 1980 is the first Blizzard of Oz came out in 1980. So that was number two. Number three was Accept. Actually, their first album came out in 1979. I had to cheat on that one. I'm like, I don't care. They're still considered an 80s band.
Nope.
Number four, Iron Maiden. First album out in 1980, definitely made in there. And number five, shit, I don't know. I forget.
Is there?
Well, let them put the graphic up, and then you're going to know because you picked it. You told them.
Oh yeah, so Pantera's 6, and
Pantera's
then
a '90s band.
No, so they started in the 80s.
But not the first album.
The first album was out in 85 or 84.
Yeah, but not the Pantera we know.
Yeah, but they were in the 80s.
I give them that.
And Saxon is number 6.
No, 79 was the first album.
Yeah, but I don't count that album.
So that's three. There's three that don't really fit out of the 5.
I don't count that album.
It's just like
you started Strong Arm and Along Wheels of Steel.
This is already
you can't say Saxon's a 70s band, and you can't say Accept is either.
Band.
Motorhead would be because Motorhead's first record came out in 77. So
I don't count any of their 70s albums.
But by the rules,
then put them in for 80s then. All right, so someone else go. Don, you go. Who cares? No, we're not going to get in trouble if I picked an album that came out in 1979. Nobody gives a fuck.
Oh, it's been 8 years? Has it really been 8 years since we did that?
Nothing's changed.
All right, I didn't put mine in any order. I just picked 8 that
6.
8 bands. Oh, wait, yeah, 6. 6 bands that I love whose first album actually came out in the 80s. You ready?
You have bands that actually came out in the 80s, Ed?
Well, let's see. It might not. One might have come out in the 90s.
This one's going to surprise people a little bit, but this is an artist I absolutely love and probably don't talk about enough. Billy Squier. First album came out in 1980. Well, that's the second album. That's Tale of the Tape, but that's good too. And that's the third album. They're all good. Okay, so I love those records, love those songs. Another one, and this guy is going to be on with us in a few minutes from this band, Anthrax. Love Anthrax, and that first album, of course, is Fistful of Metal in the 80s.
They were my number 7 pick.
You're just saying that because Charlie's coming on.
No, I do. It was close. It was like Anthrax or Pantera, and I took Pantera. So I said Charlie's not going to be mad either way. Anthrax or
covered,
Pantera.
right.
Yeah, I'm squeeze in 2 70s bands.
Mm-hmm. All right. Metallica, how could you not say Metallica? I mean, obviously, enough said there. Same with Iron Maiden. How can you not say Iron Maiden? In Under the Wire, 1980 for the first record, but still 80s.
They put a single out in 1979, no.
Doesn't matter.
All right,
first album was 1980.
All right.
And I mentioned this band a second ago that I just saw on the cruise, Tesla. When I saw them come out with Modern Day Cowboy, 2 guitars, a lot of foo-foo stuff going on at that time, and these guys coming out, just no nonsense, jeans and T-shirts, laying it down, still an amazing band. Tesla, one of my favorites from the 80s. And lastly, also from the 80s, being a Jersey guy, I saw these guys in the clubs before they even were signed, and still, for my money, one of the best bands to come out of the 80s, and that would be Skid Row. So my 6, Skid Row, Tesla, Maiden, Metallica, Anthrax, Billy Squier.
All right. Billy, when I'm the professional one, there's a problem. At number 6, and not just because he's coming in, I handed this in before Charlie was booked, but you got to put Anthrax on there.
Yeah.
My God, Fistful of Metal in 1984 and new music in 2024. They've been on fire ever since. At number 5, Dio. Okay, the Dio band, it all started with Holy Diver. Unbelievable, insane, just disgraceful that he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So Dio, number 5. At number 4 is Megadeth. Just right out of the box, angry. Mustaine's fired from Metallica, and he comes out with Killing Is My Business. And just all the rage, especially on those early albums. Rust in Peace, of course, their masterpiece. Still in business, making great albums. Number 3, Iron Maiden. Picked this up in a record store. I had no idea what it was. Had to buy it. Still love it. Still one of my favorite Maiden. Number 2, Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. Started it all. Ozzy's solo career in the 80s. I mean, the first 2 especially, such a huge effect on my life. And number 1, Metallica. We know the behemoth that they have become. And, of course, I am sporting the 72 seasons background. They are still with us and still one of the biggest, not only one of the biggest metal bands in the world, one of the biggest bands, period, in the world.
See, with Dio and Ozzy, it's so hard because obviously there's so many. But with Dio and Ozzy, I was able to get rid of them just because of the thing where they both had history in the 70s, obviously. So that's why I could kind of write them off. But I get what you're saying, Don. Valid point.
That makes zero sense.
No, because it's just my
no
out.
man could have history before.
It was my out for not including them. What are you going to do?
Well, Billy Squier had a history with Piper in the 70s, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Jim's picks made more
But that was a
sense
different
than
band.
Right, you're right.
All right, so what are we going to do? Are we going to let some people talk here? Or are we going to?
Yeah, let's see what the fans picked for their top 6 bands from the 80s.
Well, we got this is where we're going to let people stand up and shout, right? And ask some questions. We'll talk to some people for a couple minutes. We got big fan. Motley is a slickly managed animal. The public statement is that Nikki is playing live, which John 5 confirmed, according to Edward Trunk. The question is whether his bass is plugged in. That's pretty fun.
I mean, the bottom line there, though, is, again, John, it's not a cop-out, but John wasn't in the band when Mick alleged that. So John can only speak for what's going on now, and we know John would not bullshit us. So John can only talk about the 11 shows he's been in. He can't talk about the history.
Yeah.
Who's it, Zach?
Zach.
Love to hear some thoughts on more recent thrash classics from new bands like Power Trip, Vector, Warbringer, Havoc, etc. I'm a big fan of Power Trip. Obviously gone too soon. Those guys continuing on with new music as well.
So they're replacing Riley Gale, and they're going to continue.
Correct.
I was not aware of that, but so people that don't know our history, you're going to find out that when it comes to the heavier stuff and even some of the death metal stuff, Don is your guy for that. He's going to help you out with that. I like straight up metal and more melodic stuff, and Jim actually tends to go a little more towards the southern rock stuff. So
southern,
between the three of us, we cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, not so much death metal. I like newer stuff too. So, but yeah, Don will go more death metal.
Also, I just want to make an observation about our picks, our metal six packs. Is nobody put Slayer in their top six? Very interesting.
You could make the case that all four of the big four could be of the six, and then you got two left, so it's tough.
They were my number 8, so.
Did you have TT Quick in there?
Almost.
Should have been.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Hey, gentlemen, I hate to interrupt, but our guest is backstage.
All right, let's bring him in.
Well, wait.
Whoa, hold on.
There he is. Now we got it.
That's all right. What are we going to do? All right, introduce him.
That was the best yet, dude.
What a mess.
What a mess, Charlie.
Welcome to Trainwreck, Charlie.
Nothing has changed.
No.
Nothing has changed at all. What's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for doing this.
How are you guys? I'm so happy to see all you three, man. It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. People, we hear you. People have been asking for a long time about us doing something together again. So this is the first time we're doing it. We're figuring it all out as we go. We've just done like 45 minutes of just having some fun talking about rock and talking about all the stuff going on out there. And obviously, I mean, there's a lot going on with you right now, playing in 2 bands with Anthrax and Pantera. Let's start with Anthrax because news came. First of all, before we go any further, condolences on the passing of your sister. Let's, get that out there right away. So condolences to you and your family, man. But talk a little bit about the record and what you're working on with Anthrax.
So we're working on a new record. We've been working on this record before the pandemic started, So now.
Uh-oh,
we lost his audio. Charlie, we lost your audio. I don't know if you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. Do we want to go to the That Rock segment and then let's see if we can get Charlie's audio and video tightened up? Can we take him out and have the producers kind of tighten him up and we'll do the other thing?
Yeah, I don't think adjusting his earbuds was gonna fix
You never know. You try hitting different buttons, see what happens.
Yeah.
Should we do our picks basically? Are That Rocks?
Yeah, let's do that then, and they'll figure out Charlie's stuff.
When Charlie's audio is good, we'll get a note to bring him back. So let's describe what this is going to be. One of the big challenges for people into music these days is the fact that anyone can put out music. You don't know what's good. You don't know where to go. You don't know what to listen to anymore. And we all have things that we love that we like to share with people and turn people on to. We've always been doing that. So we're calling it That Rocks. It's something something we feel really rocks for that week that we want to share with the audience. So, Jim, you want to go first?
Yeah, there's a band out of India, Bloodywood. It's like Indian death metal, folk, Slipknot, new metal. It's all over the place, but these guys are really good. Slipknot has taken them out, done a bunch of the Knotfest and stuff. A band out of India just plays thrash, but there's a lot of like new metal, like a Korn, Linkin Park, Slipknot, but it's really cool. That's their debut album, Bloodywood.
Sounds totally like something Don would have picked.
Death folk metal out of India. You can't go wrong.
It's
Rack
a Charlie
Shack.
Jamieson thing, though.
I got to check it out for sure.
It's cool. Yeah, Rack Shack is their debut
cool
album.
Cover. I like the album cover. So, Donnie, what do you got?
I want to go in a different direction. So I alluded earlier to the fact that one of probably my favorite performance on the Monsters of Rock cruise was by the young men who call themselves Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Man, did they kick ass. A little tidbit about them. They're based out of Nashville. One of the guitar players happens to be the son of Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. So
Graham.
you got Graham in there playing, and man, it's just cool bluesy roots rock. You know, it's heavy, it's bluesy. It's, you know, if you're into Jeff Beck kind of stuff, it kind of encompasses all that stuff. But yeah, young dudes really laying it down, man, and they really kicked ass live on the cruise. I was so happy to see that, and they gave me all their vinyl, and I gave them a half a case of warm Miller Lite. So we made a barter on the ship. So love these guys a lot.
Yeah, Tyler's awesome. I actually saw Tyler Bryant in the Shakedown for the first time on a cruise, not Monsters of Rock, a different cruise about 7-8 years ago. And he was super young then. He's still super young and very talented guy. He's been on my show a bunch of times. Didn't get a chance to see them play live, unfortunately, on the ship, but I love what they do as well. All right, so my pick for what rocks this week is an artist that I'm really pulling for and really love his songs and what he does. And his name is Tuck Smith. And you see the record right there, Ballad of a Misspent Youth. The band is Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts, also based out of Nashville now by way of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with Tuck, he was in a band called Biters that released a couple records. He's now as a solo act. I love what he does. It's fantastic, guitar-driven, melodic hard rock. There's a heavy Thin Lizzy influence in there on some stuff.
Cheap Trick,
and just, you know, very power poppy at times, which I love. Tuck, and I've talked about this before, he has a record that is completely done that is phenomenal, that unfortunately, due to some record label politics, never got released and still has not come out. He was supposed to be the opening act on the stadium tour initially, and that fell apart as well with the record not being released. So he really, for like the third time in his career, had to dust himself off, write a whole nother record, and then completely come out and do it himself, which is what he's done. So this is technically his debut solo record. There is another one that I really hope one day sees the light of day because it's fantastic, but this is still a great way to jump in. Super talented guy. Love what he does. Just did some dates with another super talented guy named Jared James Nichols, and I'm rooting for these younger artists because the future of rock is going to come from them.
Yep.
I was there. Pure joy. Both those artists. Amazing.
Yeah, you went to the show in Jersey, right, Don? Because I wasn't in town, but I was so bummed to miss it.
Yeah, what a great combo, those two guys together, man. And so there's all our picks, man. Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, and Jim's pick, Bloodywood.
So that's what we're saying. That rocks for this week, tying in with the name of the show. We're giving you our picks every week under that banner. So that's what we're going to do for each week as well. Things that we're into.
Charlie's
now
back.
We got Charlie back with us.
Hey, now can you hear me or no?
Yes, we can hear you.
We got you, Charlie.
Okay, great.
So tell us about the record that you're making with Anthrax right now. How far along are you?
We just did some drum tracks. We did about 9 songs, and then the guys are going in a couple of weeks to continue production on the record. And yeah, we're really excited about it. I mean, we've been trying to do this record through the pandemic and through many tours. We just couldn't get it together. Now we finally did it. I had a window, and we took the opportunity to go and record.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in and say, Charlie, man, you mentioned the pandemic. Of course, we were all locked down. And I got to say, man, from my heart, you know, you were, if not the first, one of the first to start doing those quarantine jams. And really, man, that helped me and a lot of other people get through it. So thank you so much, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you, man. I was.
We did a whole record. So. We should tell people you made all that into an actual whole record, right?
I did. It came out last May, not this May, but last May. It was called Silver Linings, and all of my really amazing musician friends helped out to make it, and because I knew they were going through the same thing I was going through. You know, we were just going crazy at home, so it was very therapeutic, and I'm glad that it helped a lot of people.
There's a copy. There's a cover of the record right there. Definitely cool. Very eclectic mix of covers and stuff on there too. So people that missed that during the pandemic, definitely go check it out.
And of course, there's 2 Kiss songs on there, of course. So
of course,
yeah.
Which two? I forget. Which two did you do again?
Mr. Speed and All the Way.
Who was
Two
on
great
Mr.
songs.
Speed with you?
Some of the classic '78 guys.
Yes.
They helped me do it, and PJ from Trickster, John Five, of course, who you were talking about before. Just a great group of people that helped out to do that record. Hey, one band you didn't mention in your '80s band was King's X. They would have been on my.
I thought Eddie was going to take King's X with that too. I was surprised.
Charlie, should we have taken Anthrax off for King's X? Do we put
Something's
Anthrax?
wrong with my ears.
Wait. Hey, Charlie.
Well, Jim was disrespectful. He didn't even have Anthrax.
I said they were number 7.
He just made that up. His number 7 was King's X.
But Charlie, if we're bending the rules, would you, because now you're in Pantera, would you consider Pantera an 80s band? Because technically they are, but the Pantera we know is really a 90s band. What's your thought on that?
Oh yeah, that's a good one, man. I don't know. That's like Def Leppard too, you know. Like their first album was like '79, but
No,
yet
it's
they're
80.
known for their '80s.
On Through the Night was
On
1980.
Through the Night, I thought it was '79.
No, it's 80.
Okay, so none of you had Def Leppard on your list.
No, I did. You know,
I
needed another High and Dry record, and then maybe they would have made the top 6.
Yeah. First 3 records, if they would have kept along that path, they might have been in there. With all respect to the other stuff, which is great. You know, we don't like the record that sold 20 million copies. We're the only 3.
Yeah, right.
So Charlie, so when do you think the Anthrax record will come out? Are you going to shoot for this year?
No, 24.
Okay.
It has to be 24 because it'll take us that long to complete it because we still have more songs. There's like a bunch of other tracks that need to be recorded too. So we're looking at probably anywhere between 15 to 18 songs, like a variety of songs, and they're really good. I mean, I was so happy to record these songs, and the one thing that Scott and I were talking about, and Frankie too, is like how challenging they were to play because we forgot about them. So when it came time to record them, we're like, this song is hard, dude. So, believe me, we were so happy to play these songs again. So I'm excited. When people hear it, I think they're going to be like, wow, that's different.
How many songs do you think are going to make the record if you got 15 or 18? 10,
Probably
11?
or 12.
11 or 12?
Yeah.
What do you do with the other 6?
Yeah, probably 11.
Do you save them for maybe a next record to work on, or maybe bonus tracks at some point or something?
Yeah, bonus tracks for, certain parts of the world. And then, we do like our EPs and B-sides, things like that.
Why does Japan always get the extra song? I mean, how come like Gary, Indiana doesn't get an extra song?
Because Japan is just special. They deserve it.
Hey, I want to mention something else that people might not know that I actually had a chance to hear because our friend Jay Rustin, who I saw this past weekend, shared some of this with me. So the classic, what most people consider the all-time classic Anthrax album, Among the Living, Jay recently remixed. So tell us a little bit about that, Charlie, because he went in and did a total remix of that record.
Yeah, so everybody's talking about the Atmos. Everybody's doing remixes or recording for Atmos. The sound of it is just amazing. And we went in and we did Among the Living. Well, Jay went ahead and did it, and it sounds so awesome. It's as if it was recorded yesterday, and it's on Apple Music, and the sound is completely different. I mean, it's spatial audio, and it just sounds so good. So this next record we're recording in that way too, and then we're gonna go in and redo the other records too. It sounds so good.
Yeah, I think you have to have the Apple earbuds to hear it that way, right?
You do. Sonos make speakers now for that as well. And I mean, if you're into music like a lot of, like we are and a lot of your fans are, it pays to get it because you hear music in a different way.
Yeah.
And there's a stereo remix too. Are you going to put that out?
Yeah, eventually we will. I just don't know when.
All right, because I may have had a chance to hear that, and I would love for that to come out.
So, Charlie, what's been
It
the
sounds like
response?
it was done yesterday.
Yeah.
Charlie, what's been the response so far being in Pantera?
For me,
Yeah, I mean, to
it's
fans and
been.
everything else. Like, we are a little apprehensive. I mean, it was a hot
Was
topic in
I
the beginning.
apprehensive?
Yeah, I mean, just what the
Um,
fans would think, the Pantera fans, but it seems like everybody loves it. As soon as the first show was online, everybody fell in love with it.
Well, I think that was the thing. People had like their preconceived notions of what they were going to think. Oh, I'm not. I don't dig this without Vinny and Dime. And of course, we. What do you think? We don't know that Vinny and Dime are not with us anymore. Um, but when we start playing the songs and you just see the faces in the crowd, all that shit goes out the window. That the negative stuff that has been said, and man, that's all I ever wanted to do is just, come and do this and make people hear these songs again. And that's what it's all about, really. It's about the music.
And there was a lot of controversy about whether or not to use the name Pantera, whether to call it a tribute. You guys, obviously, you, Zach, and everybody else in the press said all the right things. What was the moment, Charlie, that it was decided that no, it's just going to be straight up Pantera, and who was in charge of making that decision?
It wasn't me. Well, for us, it was about the celebration of the music and Diamond Vinny. That's what it was about since day one. No one called it a tribute. No one called it a reunion. Can't be a reunion. This is a celebration of the music of Pantera. Come and enjoy it, and that's it. That's all you could do.
Hey, Charlie, I'm curious. Because for the longest time, people would always say, even when Vinny was still with us, people would say, "Oh, Pantera with Zach, Pantera with Zach." That was put out there many, many times, and obviously that didn't happen. And then if sadly, tragically, we lose Vinny, and everybody's like, "Well, it'd be great if it was Charlie and Zach." When did it first hit your radar? Like, what was the earliest that you were approached or that someone reached out to you and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this if we did this?" Like, how early were the discussions before we actually learned about it publicly?
Well, it was about a year before the first show, I believe, because I talked to Philip all the time, and then we were talking. He called me, and we started talking about it, and it was the first time that I immediately said, "Yes, I'll do it." With Vinny and Daryl being gone, it's very emotional. When we first started talking about it, and that first show was a very emotional experience because those guys aren't with us anymore, and I know there's people out there just like the thing that happened with Kiss. Without Ace and Peter, it's not Kiss, and of course I'm a Kiss fan, and I feel that. So in the Pantera thing, now I'm in it, and I feel it. I feel the same way, but like I said, this is a little different now for me.
Well, I
Yeah,
think the way you're framing it is right, is saying it's a celebration to the music. I mean, nobody could argue with that.
yeah, and
Right.
bringing a lot of joy to people, and I think it's fairly unanimous that if there were going to be two people to step in, it was going to be you and Zach, considering not only your talent but also your connection with Diamond Vinny. I mean, you guys were as close as anybody to those guys.
Yeah, I love those two guys, man. They were just like, yeah, you never think that certain things would ever happen, and then when it does, you sit back and think like, how did this happen so fast? How did this time just slip by? And Daryl's been gone for a while now, and but it doesn't change how like we all miss him and feel him. And every show that we've played, Sterling, who used to work for Pantera, well, still does in a sense. First show, he came to Mexico City and he brought me one of Daryl's wristbands and a pair of Vinny's gloves that that they used. And every show that I've played so far, I wear the wristband and Vinny's glove is in my pocket because I feel like they're with me. And I do that for every show, and I'll continue to do that for every other show we play. It just has significance.
What's been the highlight so far? You've done a bunch of shows in different parts of the world. You're doing shows in the U.S. now for the first time. I'm going to see at Rocklahoma on Labor Day weekend because I host that, so I'm looking forward to it. But in the early going with this, what's been the highlights, the craziest crowds, the best moments? Anything you can share about that?
The first show in Mexico City was, dude, I swear I don't even think any of us touched the floor that night. We were just so high, and then we were so happy at the end of the show that it was over. That whole South American run was just amazing. That show in Chile still stands out as the craziest show. It was crazy. All you had to do is just raise your hand and people were like, one of the best shows was just last week at Panama City Beach. Dude, I swear to God, we just all looked at each other and it just felt so good. And we introduced a new song to the set, and that felt great. And yeah, man, we're just really starting to become a band and just starting to get really intense again,
Well, that being said, has there been talk about how long this is going to go? Is it open-ended as to how long it goes? And has there been any talk that you guys would ever make new music?
No, none of that. None of that has been discussed. I know that there's Metallica dates in 24. That's all we know at this point, So Metallica finish in 24, and we're on those dates. So I'm sure there's going to be stuff around that too. But for the most part, nothing else has been discussed.
Hey, sorry, Ed.
Go ahead, Don. No, I'm just curious real quick. Would you like to do new music?
I don't want to answer that.
Let him
I asked it.
Let him finish the Anthrax songs first.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know if I say, this, that, the other thing, then it's a big headline somewhere. And then
It's our
Charlie,
first show. You couldn't hurt me. You couldn't kill me for trying, Charlie. It's our first show.
Yeah, Charlie, we need some publicity. So could you say something outrageous?
Go ahead, Don. What were you going to say?
Now I want Charlie to answer the question. No, going back to Anthrax quickly, because 1984 is Fistful of Metal, right? And 2024 will be the new stuff from you guys. Have you talked about how you may celebrate that 40 years with something special? Fistful of Metal in its entirety. You know how bands do it these days.
We haven't talked about any of that. We did the 40th anniversary, tour, and that was awesome. I mean, if I could just speak about that for a second, the shows that we did on this 40th anniversary tour have been amazing, and the attendance, it's been like insane. Like I can't even describe to you the feeling that we have. When we get up there, we just see places that are just packed or sold out, and it feels like that resurgence, of 80s music or metal in general. When everybody said rock is dead, it's like, no, it's not. It's alive and well.
Yeah, I saw a few shows on that tour. The production was great. The video that you had when you guys came out, when you projected all the video stuff on the screen, it was great. And I got to say, man, it's crazy how good Joey still is as a front man and a singer. I mean, watching him out there running around still singing the way he does, in a lot of ways, I think Joey is a little under the radar and underrated as one of the great frontmen and metal singers that we have. The guy's remarkable what he can still do.
He's awesome. I mean, that's the thing too about the band. It's like the band as a whole are still the same band from like back in the 80s. We are still very hungry. When we get out there, we don't perform at 50%. We perform at 100%. And it doesn't matter how old we get. I just think it's in us. It's that New Yorker. We get out there and we do it.
You never hear Joey's voice off on any show I've ever seen him over 30 years, 35 years of seeing you guys. I've never seen him have an off night.
No. And then we were actually tuning down a while ago, and he was like, "Why are you guys tuning down?" And we were like, "Well, we were doing it for you." And he's like, "I don't need you to tune down. Do it at the normal, at the normal rate." And we did, and it just there it is. Now it sounds like us again.
I mean, if I'm being honest, the bass player's always been a bit of a weak link. If you could figure something out there, we'd be okay. But I know you gotta deal with it. He's your nephew, but geez, if you could almost figure something out with that guy Bello, he's been dragging you down, man.
We should have a bass on tape for that, right?
He's probably going to exactly. He's probably going to be texting me any minute because we've been busting balls for 40 years. So I couldn't resist. He's the best. I got to bust balls.
Hey, Charlie,
I'm looking at that picture. I'm looking at that picture up there, and that picture was taken. I'll tell you a funny story about that. That's taken at the Ritz, which is now Webster Hall, right? So that night we played. 3 different record companies came down to see us, and we got signed that night from that show. And that happened to be Island Records who signed us. That's at the Ritz. That cracks me up. It just brings back such memories.
Yeah, great shows at the Ritz. There were 2 Ritzes, and then the Ritz moved to where Studio 54 was, but that's the original one.
Right. That's the original one. Yeah. Wow. That's
Charlie, I found an old picture of us. I think it was you guys opened for Iron Maiden, Nassau Coliseum, maybe 87, 88, possibly. Do we have that picture, Austin?
I don't even. I know what's going to happen here.
No. I just found an old picture of me and Charlie backstage at the show. Did you open for Iron Maiden back in like 87, 88?
No.
Yeah.
Look at Jam and Jim.
No.
No?
I know when that was. That was 1989 or 90. Because the Maiden tour was 90. That was Persistence and No Prayer for the Dying.
But Jim, you're wearing a Maiden pass in the picture.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was. I thought they opened for Maiden. I thought it was Nassau Coliseum.
Jim Coverdale.
With Maiden, would it have been 90? If it was 90, we played
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, those days were foggy.
Do you remember where you got that coffee from, Charlie?
Not Starbucks.
It didn't exist
but
then.
Jim had a great head of hair there too. Jesus.
Yeah. Impressive.
It's the only way to get chicks, Spicoli. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, one other thing I wanted to ask you, and then we'll do this final segment and let you get out of here. But I wanted to ask you about how you feel physically, because there was a time where you were having some issues with your wrists and your hands. We all know as drummers get older, it's very physical, shoulders, arms, joints, whatever. Now you're playing in 2 metal bands going nonstop. How are you holding up?
I'm fine. I mean, in the beginning of this last Anthrax tour, I sat out for some dates, but that was due to I was sick. I got sick when we were in South America and kind of carried over. So I just had to go and get some tests done. But everybody thought it was my hand again, but it wasn't. And yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I think I'm playing great. So, but yeah, a lot of people ask me, hey, how is your carpal tunnel? Because I'm having problems too. And yeah, dude, it doesn't bother me at all, and I feel great.
Is that something that could come back, Charlie, at any time?
I hope not.
All right.
I don't
You
think
got a lot of
so.
shows to play.
I got a lot of shows to play. So
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
And I want to give a quick shout out to Charlie's artwork as well, which I see some of the fabulous stuff behind him that he and Carla Harvey do, and it really is great stuff.
I see Kiss
Well, thank
pictures
you.
behind him. He did those.
No.
Those are
we
awesome,
did
by
an
the
art
way.
show,
Where are they from, Charlie? Where are those
What
photos from?
So the photographer Norman Sheaf, he did these photos of them, and I got a couple of copies of them, and they're from the Hotter Than Hell sessions.
What's
You don't
over your
have-
right shoulder, Charlie?
Say it again.
What's over your right shoulder?
That's Lily Munster.
Okay, all right.
Charlie, do you have Ace and Gene or just Paul and Peter?
Yeah, Ace and Gene are here. Here's the thing about the Ace picture, which is pretty funny, is remember he got into a car accident and could only put the makeup on half his face.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
That's the Ace. That's the Ace one.
Wow. That's amazing.
Charlie didn't want to put the Paul and Gene ones on camera in case he had to pay royalties to them guys.
Always thinking.
And what about your own art, Charlie? Where can people see your own art?
You can go to the website, charliebenante.com. But we did an art show April 15th in LA, and it was so awesome. Everybody came out to it, and I was so happy. But yeah, you could go to the website and check it out. I mean, for me, my art is always like pop culture, things that I grew up loving and still love.
Yeah, it's great stuff. When you were doing Monsters on the Mountain, we were all there, and you had a display there in Tennessee.
That was awesome.
Really cool to see that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, I want to give Wolfgang one of the Eddie pictures that I did. And I hope he likes it. But I'm looking forward to actually meeting and hanging with him.
Oh, yeah, because they'll be opening some shows, right, that you're doing with Pantera.
Yeah. I'm going to try.
You've not met him?
I have never met him before, but I look forward to that and hopefully jamming on crazy old Van Halen songs. I mean,
he's a
I'm
great guy.
probably the only one that has a Van Halen tattoo on that tour.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Wolf is awesome. I was lucky enough to have him at my house in Vegas a couple times and did my radio show, and he's just like the most cool, talented, real chill guy, and just really, really great. So you guys will hit it off,
so
I'm sure.
Good. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's,
all right, you want to do this or that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, so we're ending the show by well, explain it, Don, what we're doing. It's this or that, basically.
Yeah, this versus that. Well, we're going to pit one thing against another, and maybe by next week we'll have a graphic for it. But for this week, we'll just set it up verbally and say, hey, it could be two albums against one another. It could be two tours against one another. It could be rock and metal books. It could be anything. But this week, I think we decided, because there's been so much talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, most of it from our scene, not so good. The Rock.
We got another hour. You want me to jump in on that?
No, let's not do it. But we were just thinking, like, okay, let's pick a couple bands who obviously deserve to be in. But who would we rather see in first? Who goes in first here on this versus that? Bad Company or Boston? Take it away, Edward.
Missy Elliott's not a pick. I don't have that option. Oh, she's in
already in.
Already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right, this was hard because both of them a long time ago. But I am going to give the slight nudge here for mine, this or that, to Bad Company, because the history with Free, Paul Rogers, the body of work, the amount of records, the amount of hits. Boston is a lot about those first two records. Bad Company had a little bit longer of a run. They had that whole second phase, even with a different singer, that was super successful. the first two Boston albums, landmark, can't take anything away. But because of the overall body of work, I'm giving the nudge to Bad Company.
That's the right answer. Jim?
Yeah, well, I was more of a Boston fan than Bad Company. That first Boston record is probably the best rock debut album of all time. With every song on there is a hit. There's not one miss on there at all.
Better than Appetite for Destruction?
It's a rock. I put that hard rock. I'm just saying for a rock album. I put them to about the same pretty much song for song. But the thing with Boston is they took too long. Tom Scholz always with lawsuits and fighting with people. They should have put more records out, and they definitely would have done it. It was taking 2 or 3 years in between every record, but still, just those first two Boston albums alone, they should be in. So I'm going Boston. I would side with Boston here.
All right. Well, for all the reasons that Ed said, I can't really add too much more to it except to say that it's probably going on 10 years now that I saw Paul Rodgers perform here in Jersey at the State Theater, and my God, I mean, the character and the soul in that guy's voice, and when he was really going for it live, he had the mic down by his hip, and his voice was still filling the room. No disrespect to Brad Delp, who had amazing range, but that iconic voice, you'd see a line down the block for miles of people that he influenced vocally, as well as the band too. So for influence even alone, I got to go Bad Company. Charlie, what do you got? You going to tie it up or are you going to make it?
Look at his shirt. Look at his shirt. He's wearing his pick.
Damn it.
I got to go Boston because
Wrong.
That first record, dude, it's not a bad. It's like a greatest hits record, and I don't think that band gets enough credit for what they did. So yeah, dude, it's like, and name another band from Boston. I'm gonna go with Boston.
New England. Aerosmith. No, but listen. Well, Aerosmith, obviously, but here's the thing: the first Boston album, I believe, and maybe not the second, but the first is a diamond record, which is I'm pretty sure, which is 10 million or more, which is super. So commercially, there's no argument that Boston had by far the biggest record. And we can talk about the first two albums, but people forget that third album had that song Amanda on it that was pretty huge. So there was a little bit more to it than that. But with Bad Company, it's just that the length of it's so hard. The other thing too is like what Tom Scholz did was like groundbreaking, like before computers existed, like a mad scientist in his bedroom. Like it's crazy. That's how that record was created. But I still got to look, they both should be in. It's criminal they're not. But I give the slight nudge to Bad Company just because of the history between, when you tie in Free, just crazy that neither of them are there.
There you go.
I agree with you. I agree. But I'd say Boston get it. A lot of the band members are not with us anymore. But yeah. But anyway, I agree. Both bands deserve to be in the band. We should mention real quick that Anthrax did an album called Anthems, an EP of covers. And what did you guys do on that? Smoking, right? Smoking, yeah. Killer version. Didn't you get the actual keyboard player to play on it or something? Well, Tom actually played on it, the original. But no, we couldn't get Tom to play it. Oh, I thought there was a guest keyboard player or something. Yeah. There was a guest keyboard player, yes.
We could see what the fans thought if they put in the comment section was a Boston or Bad Company. Austin, if we have any of them.
Well, let's see. I'm looking down.
Oh, there we go. See, Boston. There you go.
Motley Crue, Junkie. Scorpions before either. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Bad
go for Tara.
Boston
for Rob. Bad Company. It's tight. It's like from these few comments, it's like equal almost. Bad Company all day. Bad Company.
Damn.
Bad Company. Oh. All right.
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty
Anthrax.
There we go.
I don't know, Charlie. You're not holding your breath for that, are you?
I'm not. No.
There's a ton of hip hop and country that needs to go in before metal for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about us
Yeah.
being in the Hall of Fame is that people say to me, well, you did the thing with Public Enemy, which really ignited a whole other genre. And I'm like, nah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean,
Well,
look, there's so many bands. We'll do a whole show. Everybody loves when I do a meltdown. You have a whole show of melting down.
Yeah,
because
we got to get Young MC and Tone Loc in there before you guys, Charlie.
That's right.
All right. Well,
All right.
What are we doing now? We wrapping up?
Yeah, I think so. We could, Charlie
Yeah,
might be
Bushy.
busy. We can take a couple chats here. If Charlie's got to go, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Charlie, we're going to chat with a couple people and then wrap it up. Do you want to hang or are you going to split?
I do have to go, though.
All right.
That's not
All right. Yeah.
I'm
Check out then.
Thank you,
All
Charlie.
right. Well, thank you, guys. I'll see you hopefully soon somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for doing this, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, good luck, man. Keep this going.
All right.
I appreciate
Thank you,
it, man. Thanks.
Take care.
I can't wait to see those guys. I'm going to see them not opening for Metallica to doing their own headline dates with Lamb of God down in Philly. I want to,
yeah.
so that's going to be great. And somewhere in late July or August.
Yeah. There's all the dates there. If
Yep.
I don't, where are they playing? East Rutherford, New Jersey.
They're playing. They're opening for Metallica.
Okay.
On that date, but 2 days before they're playing down in Philly at Camden.
I was like, what did the Meadowlands Arena open again?
Yeah, I know.
September 3rd, Pryor, Oklahoma. That's the one I'm at for sure, hosting Rocklahoma. So I'll see everybody there for that one.
You want to take a few questions? There was one for Don up here before we get out of here.
Yeah, we'll take a few questions. We'll go for a few till the bottom of the hour, and then we'll wrap it.
All right. Well, Bushy, if we met down at the Rockin' Pod in Nashville, man, you know what a great weekend. For me, it's become a 4-day affair. Between doing stand-up shows, between the actual convention. I hosted Rare Hair down there, which was an incredible night, like a 3-hour jam, switching musicians in and out constantly, a set list of about 40 songs that's hosted. The band leader is our friend Tyson Leslie, best known for playing keyboards in Vixen, but can play every instrument, can sing. And he really does a great job keeping that thing rolling. So yeah, Rockin' Pod's growing. And maybe we'll have to do an episode of That Rocks next year from Rockin' Pod.
Yeah,
and he asked why you didn't invite me or Jim because you didn't invite us because you didn't want us.
I can't afford them.
Yeah, we get it.
They make more money than me.
Brenda says, I notice women are always outnumbered in comments and callers to your shows. Yeah, well, we're 3 below average middle-aged guys. Who wants to look at this?
Speak for yourself.
Who wants to look at this? That's why it is hard. Some women might look and go, ugh, and then go watch the Housewives show. That's why.
I hate to break this to you, Jim, but we're well past middle age.
All right, I know. I threw that in there.
120, unfortunately.
Well, I don't know what's after middle age, so I don't want to say senior citizen. So
advanced.
John Five said he was going to live to 168 on your show.
He did.
So
yeah.
If we go by that metric, we're not even middle age yet.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with that.
Yeah, well, Brenda,
I hope
Brenda
to make
was
it to next
sorry.
week.
Brenda
I hope
was
to make it
sorry.
to next week, but all right.
Yeah, we don't know why. There's not too many women that are into the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah. It's just,
Andy
same
from
reason why there's not a lot of women at Rush shows.
Right. Yeah. There's less women at this show.
I remember when I went with my ex-wife and her sister to see Rush one time. I go, do you realize you two were supermodels here? You are going to get followed around by 18,000 Rush fans. They can't believe they saw 2 women. They're not even watch Neil solo. They're just going to be looking at you two.
Great show, great guest. The band is back together. Andy from Ontario. Thank you, Andy. I don't know if you're in Canada. Maybe that's in Ontario, California, because in Canada they didn't.
No, he's from Canada. He's from
Canada.
Canada.
Okay. I didn't see our show in Canada, but that's cool.
And I've been trying to peek at the comments, and I've seen Brazil, I've seen Australia, I've seen the UK. So wherever you guys have been checking in from, man, thank you so much. We've been having so much fun. Our friend Stoney Curtis from
Stoney's
Vegas.
the best.
Yep.
My Vegas brother. Go check out Stoney Curtis Band, and he also plays in Count 77. The best. He's my Vegas brother. We hang tortilla soup. Stoney, we'll see you soon.
You know, there's one segment we didn't get to this week where we're going to have the fans ask us questions. I mean, it's kind of similar to what we're doing now, but we'll do that probably more in the middle of the show. And then, like we said earlier in the show, there's a club membership thing. So if you want another like 20 minutes to a half hour after our regular show, you could sign up.
Rebel, how come nobody ever mentions Rick Astley? Like, never going to let you go, Rick Astley?
He'll be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Thin Lizzy, probably.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Or before Bad Company or Boston.
Yeah. Great job, guys. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the positive comments and even some of the real sarcastic ones that I peeped at during the show. But it's been fun, man.
There's a woman, Sue. Thank you, Sue. And another one. There we go.
Sue,
the demographics are changing right in front of us. Look at this.
It's the same two. He just keeps rotating them.
That's all right.
Just record them in case you ever need to show a woman's actually watching.
Yeah.
Norwalk, Connecticut, that last one. Thank you. Yeah, this has been awesome. This has been a lot of fun.
So let's call it a show, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, great first one. Thank you, Charlie.
Want to do it again next week?
Next week, 7 o'clock, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if we have a guest booked yet, but
yeah, we do. David
we do.
Coverdale.
David Coverdale from Whitesnake next week.
It
Hello,
could change,
darling.
but DC, who actually used to do voiceover stuff for us on the old show, DC is going to drop by next week, spend some time with us, and looking forward to that.
Talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Spread the word. Watch it on replays, whatever, and we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock Eastern, live for another episode of That Rocks here on YouTube. Take care.